Welcome to Couch Lock. Today we are reviewing Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise follows a reunion between two estranged sisters that gets cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival. This is a spoiler alert for Evil Dead Rise, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out and then come back here and let us know what you think. Now, this movie starts with the most insane title card sequence I have ever seen.
God, it was great. I loved it. Okay, obviously, let's just talk about it. The scalping scene.
Oh my God. As soon as you see that girl's scalp get ripped off, you know you're in for a wild ride with this movie.
I was literally like, oh yeah, this is Evil Dead.
Totally. And then you get this huge crescendo of music with the possessed girl floating above the lake and the title card popping up behind her. Immediately my jaw dropped. It was in the coolest text with the coolest fucking shot. It was so awesome.
I agree completely. I was like, this is super Sam Raimi. Right off the bat, I'm into this. Like, give me more right now.
Absolutely.
And like a slap in the face, all of a sudden you are in the city. Like, we are in a very urban apartment complex, and we are taking a peek in on the life of this single mother, Ellie, raising her three young children in the Los Angeles streets, right?
Totally. And I think that's one of the strong points of this movie is the family dynamic between Ellie and her children. You could tell that there's love there, and they've been through some shit together. And there also wasn't any ham-fisted plot points or conflicts between any of them, which often plagues movies for me. It just distracts from the main point of the movie. The main conflict, or part of the conflict, is between Ellie and Beth, her sister, because Ellie is divorced from her husband, and the husband left all of her kids with her, and she tried to contact Ellie 2 months ago when this happened, and she didn't ever get back to him. So that was a good plot point for me, but they didn't try to add too much to it. They kept it very simple, which I really appreciated. So yeah, we have this reunion with the sisters, and all of this is going on, and then they have the kids go get pizza, and while the kids are bringing home the pizza, this huge massive earthquake happens, revealing a hole in the floor of the parking garage, and with that we have the introduction of the Necronomicon, and I think that is such a great way to introduce this book. I also think it's interesting that they added lore of having 3 different volumes of the Necronomicon. And I think it's crazy because Lee Cronin, the director, said that there was the 3 books established in Army of Darkness.
Right.
You had 1 book in that world, you had 1 book in the 2013 Evil Dead, and he wanted to take this book and to kind of own it. He also adds that this opens up multiple avenues for where Evil Dead can go. I will say that the bread and butter of this movie, the greatest part of this whole entire movie, is Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie.
She sells it so hard, and all throughout they're giving these nods to the previous films, and even in her like possession scene they go to that throwback of the hurling the camera at her, and the demonic possession smacks her back into the elevator, and it's just game on from that point forward. They tie her up in like the electrical of the...
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Of the elevator. I was like, this is... the adaptation of the previous footsteps we're following is so prevalent, but it's fresh and it's exciting, and I don't want to stop watching, but I can't look, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alyssa Sutherland in full makeup, and her she has the eyes, she has the creepy smile. It's kind of like watching Heath Ledger's Joker almost. You just can't stop. You don't want to stop watching her.
She says that during this pre-production phase, she had to quarantine before filming because of COVID regulation. And during that time, she perfected the movement of her character, and that's what she was using to inform the character's decisions as she played this Deadite. And she said even at one point she was practicing like falling off of the bed in a creepy way and gave herself like rug burn right before production started. But she
Wow.
says she's got all of this footage on her phone about her like practicing the bathtub scene in her hotel. I was like, I want to see that. That would be great, right?
Absolutely. I think the by far the creepiest shot of the movie is it was in all the trailers when when the little girl's looking out the peephole through the door, and she
Mm-hmm.
has her mom sitting there, and she comes up to the door and is convincing the little girl to let her in. It's just the shot, the fisheye lens that they
Oh
use on
my
that, as well as the
gosh.
creepy smile and how she's carrying herself. Every movement she does is just, it just
Right.
seeps evil.
And the way that the interaction between mother and daughter, this is supposed to be the safest place that a child can exist, right? A conversation with their mom. And it's like this little girl having to accept that that's not her mom anymore.
Hmm.
And it's just fucked up, bro. It's just horrifying.
It
Um
is gnarly.
yeah, and just the way they play on that mother-daughter relationship, or really just mother-child relationship throughout the whole film.
Right. Yeah, what really separates this from a lot of other movies is that the children are not safe in this.
Mhm.
Very early on, she possesses a couple of the children and she really fucks them up, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
crazy to see.
I honestly, I was like, okay, well, they're crossing these lines. I wasn't expecting them to cross. Let's go, like game
Yeah.
on. When whenever Bridget gets possessed,
Mm.
she gets the fucking she gets the tattoo machine to the face.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like starts, and I love how visually it kind of calls back to the other Evil Dead movies because it
Mhm.
starts spreading in sort of like a spider web looking fashion. I thought that was really cool. So we're at the end of the movie. There's only two more characters left. What
Mhm.
did you think of the big monster that absorbed all the bodies?
Okay, I love how as it's happening, it's flashing back to the Necronomicon and showing like the page flip open to what the
Oh
monster is
yeah.
gonna be. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. Very kitschy. And then of course the elevator scene. I feel like that's gonna be one of the most iconic scenes to maybe come out of horror cinema. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very
and stick
clear
around, yeah.
nod to The Shining.
Yes, what a beautiful little like tip of the hat to
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
also another just crazy possession film, right?
Right, yeah, if you wanna
Especially
call it
because
that.
yeah, in its own right. Especially considering like how Stephen King kind of helped boot up the Evil Dead franchise all those years ago.
Oh,
Um,
interesting, yeah.
so I think that's really kind of cool to see it all kind of come full circle in that way. But also the practical effects of that scene. Holy
Mm.
shit, that elevator is magical.
Yeah. I will say that I was a little underwhelmed by the final design of the big
Mm,
multi-armed and legged monster. It really did look like they just mashed together the characters. You know, I feel like it could have done with a little
yeah,
more evolution of that form, or at least like more demonic. Like it
right.
was just like the human faces on them. It didn't look demonic except for Ellie's face. That being said,
Hmm.
I really loved the idea of it, and like you said, the flipping of the Necronomicon to that final page was really cool as well.
Yeah, I can agree with you because the film was very patient with a lot of other moments. It didn't really rely on very many jump scares at all, if
Right.
any, really. Um, it is kind of a shame that the moment they decide to speed up is that final moment where we see this like crazy mushed up mutant Deadeye,
Hmm.
right? Like I that could have slowed down as well, and we could have like listen to the bones crack around. I don't know if you noticed how it was walking with like the wrists flipped
The hands
like
all fucked up.
inverted. Yeah, that was really creepy. I would have loved to hear it crunch around a little. Well, I don't know if I
Right.
would
I
have
just
loved
want a
it, but
little
it would
more
have been it would have
I
been
wanted a
like
little more
gnarly.
grit and grime to it.
Mhm.
Same with the very end when she finally kills the Deadite.
Oh
If
man.
to me it
Mhm.
was like they were redoing what they already did in 2013, but 2013 Evil Dead did it better, in my opinion. I think they were trying to top that by
Mhm.
doing the same thing, but they could have done something else. You know, they didn't have to go with the chainsaw in the face sort of thing. Like, I get they had to bring the chainsaw around, they had to
Right.
do all of that somehow, but it did feel a little underwhelming to me in that moment.
Right, or they could have extended that out just a little bit more and maybe had it be like a multi-phase fight where she's chainsawing off Danny and then she's shotgunning Bridget to the face, leaving in the final phase our
Yeah,
main dead-eyed Ellie to kind of finally kick down the wood chipper. Like that would have been
right.
sick, honestly, but maybe that's perhaps the biggest criticism I could give this film is that final act was just maybe a little too quick.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen a little bit more.
just a little bit more. I
Just a
totally
little bit
agree.
more. Just a little bit more.
And then we have the ending of this movie, which was brilliant in my opinion, because
Mhm.
we have the character who got possessed in the beginning of the movie walking through the parking garage, going to pick up her friend and her boyfriend to go to a nice weekend at the cabin. And
Ah.
inevitably, she gets taken by the Book of the Dead, and
Mhm.
she then goes and scalps her friend.
What a great vacation.
Yeah.
It'll be one to die for.
Absolutely.
Well, there were tons of great moments. We would absolutely love to hear what your favorite moments were if you've seen this movie. If you haven't, I hope you enjoyed our review and definitely go check it out. It is in theaters right now. In the meantime, please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. We're at everywhere at Couchlock Pod. Until the next time, keep it locked, y'all.